Okie dokie dokie. Welcome, 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 ladies and gentlemen. We are live streaming right across the world into 74 different countries. We're going to put on a quick timer for those that have just logged in. That's your opportunity to check who's in the room and then reach out to your groups and tell them we're on live on YouTube and live on Facebook. So get them to watch the event. Today's going to be a fantastic event. And type in where you're watching us from in the meantime. Alrighty, for those people who are brand new online today, guess what? We have closed captions. If you don't speak English fluently, not a problem. You can actually read on the bottom screen by clicking the right buttons for closed captions during today's event, which will play the written version of your language on the bottom of the screen. Same holds true for YouTube on the playback. So have a quick listen to this in case you haven't got a word what I'm saying or a clue what I'm saying in English.
Por favor, vaya a la parte inferior de la pantalla en Zoom o YouTube y haga clic en subtítulos para leer en español.
Kérlek menjünk képernyő aljára, a Zoomon vagy a YouTube-on, a Closed Caption részre, és ott el tud olvasni magyarul a feliratot.
Silakan klik di layar bawah pada Zoom atau YouTube dan klik caption untuk membaca dalam bahasa Indonesia.
Pour les sous-titres en français, veuillez cliquer au bas de votre écran Zoom ou YouTube sur CC ou Closed Captions.
Zoom または YouTube の画面の下部に移動し、字幕をクリックして日本語で読んでください。
請到屏幕底部點閱隱藏字幕以閱讀中文。
Παρακαλώ πηγαίνετε στο κάτω μέρος της οθόνης, στο Zoom ή στο YouTube και κάντε κλικ στους υπότιτλους για να τα διαβάσετε στα ελληνικά.
請到屏幕底部點擊隱藏字幕以閱讀中文.
אנא עברו לתחתית המסך בזום וביוטיוב ולחצו על תרגום לכתוביות בעברית.
Proszę zejść na dół ekranu na Zoomie lub YouTubie i kliknąć napisy, żeby przeczytać po polsku.
Welcome, welcome, welcome online, ladies and gentlemen. Do you know what I love? Let me just change my English language to English. Do you know what I love? We have been around the world. What's that program, Around the World in 80 Days? Well, we've been all over the place in the last little while. Now, we got people online from Western Australia, Perth, Alberta, Canada, New Zealand, Ontario, Perth, Canada. Well, they're both winning. Washington State, here we go. Canada, so Cali, I can never say that right, California. Louisiana, Canada, New Zealand again. We have Nevada, we have Ontario, we have Hong Kong, we have Florida, we have people logging in from all over the place, Indonesia, you name it. So, ladies and gentlemen, today's session is going to be a fantastic session. You saw it got advertised as not just any call. Today's call is important for many reasons, and tonight is not about motivation. Yeah, I know you get inspired by being on calls, but it's not about a motivation. It's about elevation. But we're here to talk today about what separates the dabblers from the professionals, the short-term thinkers from the legacy builders, and the jumpers from the industry experts in the business. Now, despite what you might think, we don't sell products. We do sell products, but that's not what it's all about. We actually create leaders. And it's interesting, I was chatting to one of our leaders who's upline to a lot of the Taiwanese business about to explode. And I said to them, you know, despite what you think, Diamond is not 50,000 PV with 3 one-star legs. You're going, hang on, that's what it says it is. Yeah. Diamond is leadership. Okay, so someone can sell their way to a diamond rank, go, look at me, I'm a diamond, ding-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling. But then if they don't all do all the actual leadership activities, that diamond, and I've seen it, we did it through Blue Friday sales, goes ding-a-ling-a-ling, got a title, don't have the knowledge, don't have the wisdom, and down the toilet, it goes right back down to a 1-star. So you want to keep a business that is actually high ranking, then you've got to learn the leadership skills that go along with that. Now, what I'm really excited about is in the last just 4 weeks-ish alone, just before I left, I noticed the Polish team were going berserk. We had the Vegas event, which was great. Then we had the Croatian event, which was packed to the brim. We had the Greek team going berserk with their team. They're just on fire. Thank you, Irene. Irene is solely responsible for that. Fantastic group downline to her for supporting them, bringing them on board and making it all happen. She's amazing. And then, of course, then we went over to Thailand and Taiwan and had explosive growth going on there as well. So I've just come home and it's like a whirlwind. Neumi is on fire. I think I had a look, and I'm not quoting figures for the company because they got way bigger figures than mine, but I noticed just this team alone had about 1,000 new members just in the last couple of weeks. I was like, holy crap, this thing's on fire, right? So with that in mind, I'm going to bring up some slides. I'm going to get through a presentation today, and then we're going to bring on a couple of the people who've been with us, some of the leaders that were with us as we were overseas. So today's topic, this is my first slide, opportunist versus professional. Now, this is a talk that I wish I had heard in my very early days in my network marketing career. In fact, I said to Aaron, we've been around 4 years, and back when I was in my 20s in network marketing, I met an amazing lady by the name of Phoebe Wallace, who's here on here today. And we had an upline crown, was actually called presidential at the time. And he would do topics and he'd bring you in on leadership. And I've never heard leadership topics like this in my life. So he didn't dodge the elephant in the room. He'd go straight to talking about what makes a true leader and what doesn't. And you'd come out of there with real clarity. Okay. So we're going to go through a few topics today, which will be really helpful. And I encourage you to make sure that you do have a pen, paper, ready to go. And by the way, quick promotion. If you haven't done it, please register for Neumi Week. Because when we were in Thailand, I get them confused, we had our phones in our hand with this brand new technology. And while the Indonesians were speaking on stage in Indonesian, our phone was writing to us with their language. This is all going to happen every language for Neumi Week. So it doesn't matter what language you speak, you're going to be blown away with the support technology. Because not many companies can attest they're in 74 markets in under 4 years. And so that brings with it some rocketing growth, but it also brings it with it some challenges, talking in different languages and stuff like that. So I'm going to go through various topics. So get a pen and paper ready. And the first one we're going to talk about is being real about the business. Okay. And what do I mean? Well, the quadruple sort, I call this. I heard from a guy by the name of Johnny Wimbray once in the industry. He talked about something relating to the triple sort, and it was a great topic. With the wisdom that I've learned in the last 4 years, I'd go far as saying that there is a quadruple sort. Yeah. So the business isn't about who says yes, it's about who evolves. So the very first sort that happens in your business is who's going to join. And for the brand new people on here, go and make sure you study how to do Neumi cycles. 30 calls on average, X amount of people join. It's statistically provable for the industry worldwide. Your results will be higher if you have a good level of trust and influence with people, and lower if you don't. So it'll vary, but the averages are pretty clear. And then there's a recording called the 130-10 in your app, and that'll tell you the statistics to work, to know how this business is predictable. But when you're going through your list, just because they join, does that mean they're going to build? No. So the first thought is, who's going to join my business? That comes out of your first list. The next one is actually who's going to build. So if you didn't see the change here, top left-hand corner, who's going to join? Now, who's going to build? And not everybody who joins you is going to build the business. Oh my God. Now, you might think that's terrible. This industry, retention, that's terrible. How could people join and then not build? Well, let me share a stat with you. And maybe I'd love to see your thoughts in the chat. How many people do you think join a gym on day one, on January the 1st, going New Year's resolution, and 6 months later are still going? Type in your thoughts. How many people? What percentage? Do you think it's 50%, 60%? Just curious. 6 months after they've made a commitment, how many people? There we go. Looking in the chat. Some of you are close. Some of you are miles off. 20%. So 80% of people quit the gym. In fact, 50% quit in the first month. People quit on themselves. Now, gym doesn't work, obviously. Gym's broken. If you go to the gym, it's a waste of time. It doesn't work, as Arnold Schwarzenegger can see from his body. No, not true. Now, for me, I was on a call just yesterday with Prue, and a guy who's just getting started in Thailand. And I said, do you go to the gym? He goes, every day. I said, perfect example. I said, I go 2 times a week and I'm growing lean muscle in 56 years of age. He's in his 20s. He goes every day. He's going to see better results. The same holds true with Neumi. So what percentage of people do you think are still building the business 12 months after they join network marketing? Just curious. Type in your thoughts in the chat. Do you think it's 50%? Do you think it's 60%? What percentage? Someone's very pessimistic, 2%. Not that bad, Larry. 20%. Now, but here's the thing. When they join a company that has a gimmicky crap product, they quit, and that's the end of them. No longer a customer, no longer anything. In Neumi, they become a rebadged member as a customer in member clothes. So they still keep using the product because it works. And that's why our retention is really cool, because there isn't a product on the market that comes anywhere remotely close as inexpensive or as effective as our product. So just because it says 80% quit on themselves in the first year doesn't mean they quit. In fact, Phoebe's got a great story about this we're going to cover off today, which will hit home the power of that, because just because they haven't not engaged in building doesn't mean they've given up altogether. And we'll talk more about that. But I show those stats so that you go, it's not unique to network marketing. These are normal stats. People quit on themselves. Doesn't mean the industry doesn't work. So going back, first one was who's going to join. Second one was on the road sign, who's going to build. What's the third one? Who's going to learn to lead? Okay, so who's going to become a leader? Not everybody who builds really wants to grow personally. So they might build for a while and then, don't want to learn new skills. They say you can't teach an old dog new tricks. Rubbish. I can show you so many examples of people who are, older. I mean, Larry's online and he's learned some software, right? He's in his 80s. So there's no such thing as you can't learn how to lead, but not everybody wants to commit to themselves. Now, here's the kicker for today's call. Just because somebody gets the title of leader doesn't mean they are a safe leader. What do I mean? A leader with laser focus, a leader who doesn't want to confuse their team, a leader that doesn't ride more than one horse. Now, can you build more than one company in this industry? Yes, you can. Not successfully, right? You can build one. And I met a guy and I spent time with a brand new guy in the team who has consistently earned 150,000 a month from another company. Just joined Neumi. Why would you join Neumi if you already earned 150? Because he can see this is the ground zero of what's going to go so berserk worldwide. And come to Neumi Week, there may be an announcement about income potentials that are up there like that. Maybe not, maybe definitely will, right? So why do people get involved in that? But he said, hey, I've built companies, then I've not touched it, and I've moved on and found a brand new network of other people, and then kept that income and then built the next company. You could do that. He's very silent on social media because it's very hard to do, because the second you social media the new company, all your previous team goes, what the heck? And then you just destroy what you've done. So he's doing it very smart. There's a lot of intelligence in that guy's brain, but he is earning 150,000 a month. So he knows what he's talking about, right? What happens in all businesses is people come through and they get to a certain level. And we saw it in our previous company. They had a rank called silver. Type in yes if you've ever had, or if you do have kids and they've gone through the teenage years. Type in yes. Because I went through it, and I love my kids to death, but my daughter became the Antichrist when she got about 14 years of age, hormones, and then came through to about 18. She got 21 and she suddenly started to listen again. And so what happens in the network marketing industry, some people get a little bit of success and then it goes to their head and they become unteachable. And all of a sudden they're teenagers like, la, 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 you can't tell me, Dad, I know what I'm doing. And they run off a cliff face, right? And so there's a lot of important things to be said. What's going on here? Someone's typing their number in there. I'm just going to delete that, Larry, because it's probably not good to publicize your phone number. There's a lot of good stuff to be learnt from mentors. I still to this day listen to Steve on ethical stuff from mentoring. I have a friend, another Steve, who's my financial mentor. I have Alex, who's my network marketing mentor. I sat with this new guy who's a team member who's earned way more money than I have. And I'm like, I'm open ears. Tell me what you did to do this. Tell me how you did this. So it's important to listen to the right people when we talk about that. So that's the quadruple sort. Who's going to join doesn't mean they're going to build. Who's going to build doesn't mean they're going to learn how to lead. Who's going to learn how to lead doesn't mean they'll get leadership and become a safe leader with a laser focus and not spread themselves across many companies, right? So let's get back into that. That leads me to the next one. There are 5 ways to strike gold. Now, when you join network marketing, why do they say 2 statistics, right? One statistic is the average person only ever introduces 2.8 people. That's weird. That's why we created the power of 3, because the guy that has no confidence can go, I could do that. Just 3, that's not hard. But the other stat is out of 100 names, on average, 30 people show an interest, maybe 20 customers, maybe 10 members. Now that statistic doesn't match the 2.8, does it? Well, that's because the 2.8 rings their first 10 best friends, gets some knockback, sponsors a couple, and then goes, this is hard. I've got some negativity from somebody. I'll just become a customer. Whereas the smart leader learns that you don't just go through your warm contacts, you need to learn new skills to keep going beyond that. And again, recruitment is not network marketing. That's sales. That's only one part of network marketing. Teaching duplication is true network marketing, right? So unfortunately, at the moment, sometimes people come in and sponsor thousands of people, and then when they can't sponsor anymore and they haven't taught any duplication, they lead their people off a cliff face because they don't know what to do next. So 5 core actions of a professional, yeah? Network marketing is not a lottery. It's not a money game, okay? It is a pure business that has many ways to grow. So the first way I encourage everyone, this is for the brand new members, why do we say don't start with lead generation straight away? Because you want people who have a high level of trust in you. So your warm contacts is where you have a high level of trust, influence, rapport. And that's why we say start writing a list of names and then start contacting them. Now, some of the affiliate programs online say, hey, your upline's telling you to ring 100 people. Don't do that. They're selling you an affiliate program, just so we're clear, right? So I'm going to show you how to get to what they're talking about, but they're putting the cart in front of the horse. We put that cart after the horse. The horse is go to your warm market first. Why? You can't teach what you don't do yourself. So let's put that down the bottom as one of the first foundations. So the next one is true networking. What does that mean? Meeting new people. Who can you meet? Doing life. So, for example, I got recommended as the best photograph recently in the Sunshine Coast Professional Photographers Group, which reinvigorated me going, oh my God, I got selected and there's some pretty good photographers in there. So I started interacting again with people and then I started friend requests sent out from people who take awesome photos because I'm doing life, meeting people without a Neumi agenda. Some people go out there and they're bad at networking and they go to network events and thrust their Neumi card in people's hands without building rapport, but without finding out about the other person. True networking is being genuinely interested in somebody else without a Neumi agenda and meeting people just to add to your list just because. So write that one down. That's number 2. So that's true networking, right? Who can you meet? And you may not even know them today. You might have just joined Neumi and you'll meet someone tomorrow or next year. The next one is to people through people or other people's networks. This is true networking, where you might have a customer who introduces you to someone who becomes a member because you build a good rapport, who introduces somebody else who goes berserk with the business, right? And that's the power. I'll quote my awesome buddy Larry. Larry joined the business. He then brings on Karen. I didn't even know Karen, and boom, half the world of Neumi explodes. That's to people, through people. That's other people's networks. That is the core network marketing principle of how you grow a business. So I'll put that down as one of the foundations. The next one is social media. Now, social media, I don't mean spamming Neumi every day all day long. If that's all you talk about, you're doing network marketing wrong. Just going to say it. And don't hear it from me. Log on to Neumi Week, hear from the #1 social media network marketing company in the world. They're going to be presenting for us on Neumi Week, so don't miss it. And guess what you're going to say? Exactly what I just said, right? Now, isn't that interesting? Exactly the same words. So social media can be done well or done poorly, spammy, and that'll damage the brand of Neumi, damage the brand of you, damage the brand of the industry. So there's a good way to do it and a bad way to do it. So that's another foundation, those 4. Then we come to lead generation. Now, am I anti-lead generation? No, not at all, right? But there's so many different ways to do lead generation. What could they be? It could be many things. Now, why do we put them at the end? We'll cover that, and actually, I'll just give you a visual on it right now. I say there's 5 primary ways to strike gold. Warm market, trust is high. People know you, like you, trust you. Start with them. If they don't join, who cares? Because there's 4 more ways. Get through the list as fast as you can. Who can you meet? Recently had someone a couple of months ago join at the gym who made me introduced to 2 more people. One of them became a great friend, came to my housewarming. Wow. Right? Next one. 2 people, 3 people, driving depth. That's a skill to learn. We talked about that at the 1-star event in Thailand. Next one, social media, done the right way. Next one, lead generation. Why is this last? This is a low level of trust, harder to do. So the 130-10, 30 people showing an interest, you won't have 30 people showing an interest from cold leads. Guaranteed. More like 3 if you're lucky, right? So there's a lot more work than there is here. So we start here and we go through whichever ones resonate with us, and then we eventually get to there. And you keep moving through these in your career. You don't stop there. I recently, 2 days ago, just introduced a brand new frontline. I haven't stopped building. I'm doing that so I have credibility with you, because I can say, finger on the pulse, I know how to do it because I did it yesterday, not, oh, in 1932, I introduced a lot of people. No, it's real time. Okay, so they're the 5 ways to strike gold. So invest in becoming a professional to keep learning. Don't just stop at doing the social media, for example, or the warm market. So what are some of the things? Well, I've written a few down. You might have more, and feel free, if there's other ideas, chuck them in the chat, right? Could be running a wellness expo. 1,000 people come to meet you and you get yourself 20 customers or 100 customers, and there's some of them you brew the relationships, and you might find a member come out of that or 2. Could be podcasts. I'm invited on a podcast in Thailand with Prue from someone, and that'll be a great lead generation idea. There is AI out there where you can use AI to try and generate leads as well. Some are really good, some are really bad because it's obvious that you're using AI. I did one the other day on a picture with AI, trying to turn a picture into a video, and the lady had 7 legs, so I wouldn't be using that one, right? AI is a little unreliable sometimes. Could be websites, but if you have a website, just check your terms and conditions. You're not allowed to SEO the website with the words Neumi, because if you do and you're in competition with the Neumi page, you breach your agreement and you might end up losing your business. Or you could be invited as a guest speaker on something, and I've done that before as well. So there's so many ways, and there's probably more. I'm just going to have a look, see if anyone wrote any of the chats. Nope. Can you borrow that? I'm not sure what someone's talking about. All right, so then I'm just going to focus on why we start with warm market. Is just reiterate what I said. If you don't do that, you can't teach it. So even if you're a scaredy cat going, oh, my people won't join, ring them anyway, get them out of the way. And then you can always put your hand on your heart, look the person in the eyes and say, what I did was. Why is that? Let's say you start with lead generation and you do some kind of cold marketing. What's the first thing you want that person who joins you to do? Type it in the chat. Is it they need to go start a lead generation program? Is that what you want? What would you want the very first? Type it in the chat. What's the very first thing you would want the person who joined you from a lead generation to do? Come on, somebody. It's a trick question. Thank you, Phoebe. Go to their warm market. Funny how Phoebe and Prue were the first people to respond, and they're being interviewed today. Exactly, Keith. So that's what you want to do. If you don't do it, if you're telling someone to do something you haven't done yourself, that's called hypocritical. So you do what you do and you say, I've done this, that's what I was taught to do, and that's why I want you to do the same. Now, I want to ask this question as well. Are you, actually, no, I'll come back to this one. We'll come back. All right. So do you know what your blind spots are? In fact, what I'm going to do before I do that, I'm going to ask for a bit of input from Prue. That's Prue and Greg. Greg's not there today. And Phoebe Wallace. So just so you know, Prue and Greg were the founding members of New Zealand for Neumi on day 1. And Phoebe was one of the founding members for Neumi here in Australia as well. Of course, their businesses go into other countries as well. But I think it's always good when you bring on other people. So I'm going to bring all 3 of you us on together. And then I'm just going to bounce around some questions for you guys. Here we go. Beautiful. So feel free to unmute. So I'll start with, only because you're on the top of my screen, Prue. I'll start with you, Prue. So we talked about the 5 ways to strike gold. Can you give us some examples of not just warm market, but things that you've found have worked for you recently to add new members to your team?
Yeah, sure. Well, obviously, to start with, we started with our warm market. We started with friends and family. Some joined as customers because they wanted to look after their health. Others joined as members because they were looking for some income or a bit of lifestyle or whatever. And then it's, as you mentioned, it's meeting people through just doing life. One example is our dog. She's high maintenance and she goes to physio quite regularly. And that's why I need a Neumi business to pay for it. And through that, we've got to be really good friends with the physio. And we now go on holidays together and all sorts. And she's become a Neumi customer and loves products. So that's just one example of people that you meet. It can also be, I don't know, go for a massage or down to the corner store where you get your milk and you have a chat to the person behind the counter every day. And over time, you sort of build up that relationship. So, you can end up having a chat after a while. And then the third one is like people through people. And this has been a big one for us in our team. And through one of our team members, well, you never know who's down in your team. Sometimes if you don't look, you've got all sorts of little gems down there. We've got quite a few little gems in there that we just need to nurture. And when the time's right, they'll spark and take off. But one example, which is why we ended up going to Taiwan, was we had someone in our team who could speak Mandarin. And so from that grew the Taiwan team. And that's grown to be quite explosive. It's going to go off as soon as the product is launched there. And so after we were all together in Thailand, we went to Taiwan. We travelled there with Michael and Sergio from corporate, and we had a blast. Lots of laughs, and I'm not sure if Sergio got all the Aussie and Kiwi jokes, but but we had a great time. But we also met, and that was the idea of going, was to meet with the up and coming leaders in Taiwan, and just to show them that we're there for support, to explain how we have the Neumi 1, 2, 3 system, and how it's duplicatable in all countries. We use the same system, and then it doesn't matter what country you're in, you can go, to other countries and go from there. And then the last one is social media. I've been playing around a bit on social media, and I would just say with social media, find a couple of platforms that you kind of gel with. For me, it's been maybe LinkedIn and Facebook. And then just work on building relationships through it. It's not about just post, because that doesn't get you anywhere. It's about connecting behind the scenes and getting up, conversations going, see if there's an interest. If there is, you just follow the 1, 2, 3, you send them the 2-minute. If they like that, then you send them the next video, the overview. And then if there's interest after that, we get on a 3-way. And as Michael mentioned, that's led to us being on a podcast very soon with somebody in Thailand. So that's going to be really exciting to see where that goes.
Beautiful, beautiful. Now, I want to say congratulations to Prue, because Prue, and you guys don't see this, if I showed you the graph of Neumi, it doesn't go straight line. It goes, like this, like this, like this. As long as the trend is up, and our trend's been permanently up, that's the thing. Prue and Greg have gone through flat spots, right? Like everybody, but they stuck with it. Why? They invested in their growing their knowledge, having a mentor, learning the 5 ways to strike gold, not just one, not just being a passive poster on social media going, oh, well, fish is jumping in the boat, learning all the extra skills. I've not met as many people from anyone in the entire team. I've met more people as prospects through LinkedIn, through Prue and Greg than anybody else. Just saying, right? So, and then LinkedIn's not a huge thing for me, but so that's a great example. Now, thank you for that, Prue. Now, Phoebe, if you can now share with us some of the things that you've found as well. Now, by the way, Phoebe won't blow her own trumpet. Phoebe has been in the industry longer than I have, and I'm 38 years, so she must have started at 3 years old.
I'm a little bit, how would you say, more mature than you, Michael. So, yes, I've been around a bit longer. But I actually have been involved in this business since May 1987. So, yeah, and that was since I came to Australia. I love the industry, and yes, there's been a heap of learnings over the years from different leaders, and I love listening to different leaders. And of course, like Prue, warm market, it's always where you start, because you don't want to leave your good friends and your family behind. Now, having said all that, they will be your biggest critics because they know everything you've done and they know all the silly things you've done. And so they'll be the most critical. But the people who do join you are very loyal to you. They know you, they trust you, and you have them with you forever, basically. And they will follow you along. If you're a leader with integrity, they will follow you from wherever you go. So good family, good friends, and colleagues. Whoever you have on your Christmas card list or your wedding list or whatever, those are the people that you know the closest and the people who know all your quirks and trust you the most. So that's always the best place to start. True networking, well, you can learn to be more outgoing. Learn to be a conversationalist. Learn to listen, because true networking is massive on listening and listening for what people want. And then you can do reflective listening with them and say, remember you said, were you serious about that? And if I could do something to help you now, whether it's financial, whether it's with health, whether it's more time, whether it's whatever, whatever they said, you can come back to them with, because it's not something you said about them, it's something they said about themselves. So you can work with that and build it up, and then introduce the business as the timing is right for them, and as you bring them along the process and build the relationship. Now, meeting people through other people, I've had a fantastic experience with that just recently. Again, somebody I have known and somebody who has followed me all the way along network marketing, and they were, I'm not going to mention names because I don't want to embarrass them, but they were a dormant, but always a user of the product. And they always sit there and watch, and they're very good friends, right? And we socialize together, and we always contact each other, and so on. And then as soon as Thailand opened, up they come. And these people had a retired colleague, working colleague living in Thailand, who will be who's very excited, and one door is closing for him in Thailand, opportunity-wise and from a work perspective. And he wants to find another interest that will, because there's no social welfare up there, that will bring him cash flow, so that he can afford to live and retire and be comfortable the way he's living now. So he's very excited, and not alone that, so he'll be joining today. And not alone that, but he is also bringing in somebody who's successful in network marketing, because they believe they're with a company that's very long term and has gone a bit stale. And when they checked out the income potential between what they're doing now and what they've done for a long time. And Neumi, they said it's a no-brainer. So they will be coming. So there's meeting people. It's to people through people. And I would not have known these people if I hadn't, if my colleague in the business didn't pop up because all of a sudden it became exciting because he knows people in Thailand. And then social media, this has been my Achilles heel. And Michael will tell you that I'm not a good social media person. And I think since I'd never taken a selfie until I got on social media. So this is a learning experience for me, and Michael is teaching me as I go along, to watch when I do a post, to watch who comments, and then strike up a conversation with them and see where that conversation leads. And that's a growing area for me, and I'm learning, and I'm not a chicken anymore, so I'm willing to learn. So this is a developing area for me. So back to you, Michael.
Thank you, Phoebe. And actually, just reminded me, Phoebe, you were saying that we posted something. Phoebe posted a book and a photograph of herself, which, not big on selfies, but it was a good one. And someone said, "Oh my God, Phoebe, I'll never forget when you sold me the pots from Amway." That was like, I don't know, 1999 or something, or 1990. And she's like, wow, what a blast from the past. So you just never know who's watching you on social media. So keep that in mind. So don't miss Neumi Week so you can hear what that company coming in is going to say. It's going to be fantastic. And I want to say too, sometimes people see the tip of the iceberg. Oh, Michael's posting online. This company is going to say, don't follow what Michael does. I've asked them to tell you this. Why? Because sometimes we see an influencer or we see me, and I'm part of the core group that started Neumi. So I was incognito, not saying the word Neumi for the first 90 days on purpose. And that's how I built to double diamond in 2 weeks when we launched. And then I went full tilt with the word Neumi because I bleed Neumi blue and I'm not going anywhere. Some people choose, like the other guy earning 150 grand a month, choose to keep his social media totally anonymous. You'll never know what company he's involved with, and that's a great idea. Because changing what you publicize online or posting multiple things is just going to confuse the crap out of people. But I said, the tip of the iceberg is what you see me posting. What you need to understand is my results don't come from that. If I post something and 50 people like it and I go 30 of them are Neumi, 20 of them are not, 10 of them I've spoken to, hey, there's 10 I haven't spoken to. I did this just yesterday. I go, bing, oh my God. We haven't spoken for ages. Just saw your face pop up on my Facebook story about such and such. What's new? How's life? That's where the sweet spot is. Privately reaching out to people. So that brings me to the next slide. So we've talked enough about the 5 ways. What's your blind spot? Do you know what your blind spot is? This is so huge, right? So what do I mean by that? Some people are what I would call the passive posters. What's a passive poster? A passive poster is somebody who only understands one part of what we do in social media and thinks the only way to get leads is post on social media. Neumi, 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 Neumi. That's not a professional. That's a passive poster. So the professional learns all the other things we just talked about, private conversations, reaching out to people individually, picking up the telephone. And so what can happen, sometimes people are so passive in posting and they judge their business model by that. I'm posting online and no one else is, reaching out to join me. Well, yes, I have fish jump in the boat on their own too from social media, but most of my work is from actively building relationships and doing all the other things. So you hear people who are passive saying, hey, I posted, no one replied. But the active person goes, I reached out to them, I followed up, and I nurtured seeds. Now, when you think of nurturing seeds, does it go back to the quadruple sort? If I plant 10 seeds and I don't water them, are they going to grow? Some maybe, most will wither and die. That's the person who thinks they're a great recruiter and they don't nurture the back end. The seeds die and they throw more seeds in the ground. Some die, some survive. And that's a very dangerous leader to follow because they're not true network marketers when they do that. Now, if I plant 10 seeds and I nurture them all, will they all grow? No, some are going to die too. Just like people quit the gym, people quit on themselves. So know that that's the case. right? Someone typed in, that's me. I wasn't watching when you typed that, but maybe it's a passive poster. And if it is, you're here to learn some new stuff, and that's fantastic, right? So learn some new stuff. So what are your blind spots? Know what they are. Everyone can learn more. I sat in the taxi with this guy earning 150,000 a month, and my ears were open, and I was like, learning. Just because I've hit crown doesn't mean I've hit the pinnacle. Far from it. Come on to members night. There's a lot more than crown. That's all I'm saying. So let's move on. So let's talk about blind spots and the dangers of a leader with a focus. Okay. I've got a question for you. Could you, and my beautiful wife came up with this scenario yesterday when I was preparing this. She goes, could you work at 2 or 3 supermarkets? If you were a checkout chick, that's what we call them in Australia, or you're the guy who stocks the shelves, could you work at 3 supermarkets on 3 separate shifts? Absolutely, you could. No, you could actually, Shelley. You could. You wouldn't tell them, but you could. You could represent 3, because you're not a leader in the supermarket. You're just a shelf stocker, or you're just a tech out chick going, how was your day? Yeah, not listening and just putting the stuff through, right? So if you were a CEO or a regional manager, could you work for more than 1 supermarket? Not in a million years, right? As Phoebe said, a double-minded man gets nothing, right? A person who chases rabbits loses them all, okay? So that's the dangers of following somebody who is representing more than 1 gig. What they don't understand success. That's the key thing. I had someone in Neumi come to me at the summit last year and said, I'm going to prove you wrong. I'm still waiting. Just saying, right? Still waiting. It's been 38 years and I'm still waiting. But can you be in multiple companies if you want to sell some products? Absolutely. Block I'm getting at is you can't be the CEO, but you can be the shelf stocker. So do you want the ultimate success, right? Then build the business solely on 1 gig. Now, with that in mind, and by the way, it's not about control. It's about credibility. Now, the blind spot is the person who does that doesn't understand what their team is saying to their other upline, going, oh my God, they've lost the plot. They're building multiple gigs. They did this before. They're on the next gig. And so I heard it put this the other way. Someone posted something online that caused me to do this. They said, and it's a fact, and they said an accurate statement, but they left out some context. They said, did you know that about 80% of the industry earns less than $500 a month? Now, that's true. Why don't they? This is the next part. Why don't they pass the 500? Remember I said teenagers come to the point of, Dad, I'm not listening. In the previous company, they had a rank called silver. We called them the SAS, stuck at silver, because they got to that point, became the I know it all, and they wouldn't listen to leaders from above. I listened to the guy with 150,000 a month because I haven't been there yet. I can't tell him, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. Hello? He's earned 5 times what I'm earning. That's crazy. So I'm definitely interested in listening to that. So with that in mind, when you're following a leader, just remember the statement I heard once before. Don't follow the naked man or woman who is trying to sell you the shirt off their back. Follow the person who has mastered the professional and stayed on course, okay? Because professionals will outlast opportunists every single time. So you can keep jumping from company to company, chasing opportunity after opportunity, hoping the comp plan works out better and following hype, or you can actually become a leader that people trust and follow. And then from there, you will build long-term credibility in the industry. Now, it's sad to say that, and by the way, 80% of mortgage brokers earn less than $50,000 a year. What? Why would you do it? Because 20% earn really good income. What do the 20% do that the 80% don't do? A lot. And we used to run things called Survive or Thrive during the global financial crisis in the mortgage industry. And it was very evident that some people got to a certain point, I don't need to know anymore, and they never succeeded in the mortgage industry. Hello, same as the network marketing industry. Get to a point, blame the tools, not looking internally that I haven't mastered all these other skills you're talking about, Michael, but instead it stopped working for me. The company's this, the company's that. This is why it's important to follow the right leader, okay? So Leverage only happens when the leader understands and learns duplication. So duplication, you've heard today said many times, Neumi 123, Neumi 123. I sat with a guy in Taiwan in Prue's team who's been enormously successful, and I had to say, listen, I know you are amazing. I know you know what you're doing, but I just need to let you know that there's three reasons Neumi's successful. One, no one has a product anything like we do as inexpensive and get the results we do. Nobody. Two, we pay way more commission than everybody else, and that's great. But three, we had a system from day one, Neumi 123. Everyone was doing the same thing. Now, that's in every language. I said you could just run with the systems you know, and I'm not going to get in your way, but I'm just going to table a thought. If you do, you'll be stuck in Taiwan. Because when you go to Thailand, they're talking Neumi 123. When you go to Australia, they're talking Neumi 123. When you go to Croatia, when you go to UK, when you go to Latin America, we're all talking Neumi 123. So you could hitch your wagon to this, or you could keep running a system that's not the same. Your choice. And then well, you'd be stupid not to bring everybody into the same duplicatable thing because it's in every language. They're going to hear it on the app. They're going to hear it on the calls. They're going to hear it on absolutely everything every single time. So just remember, duplication or leverage only happens when the leader understands to learn duplication. Now, statistics play a part. So I'm going to ask you this question. If we had 100 cups on the table in front of you, and I know the stats, 30 of them have something interesting other than probably 10 have a gold nugget because that's your 10 members out of the 100 on average. How quickly would you turn over those cups knowing that there is 10 gold nuggets there? Now, it could be the last 10 you turn over. It could be the first 10 you turn over. How quickly would you turn those cups over? Type it in the chat. Would it be immediate? Would it be a week? Would it be a year? Quick. That's a good answer, right? Immediately. But people don't. Why? The stats are there. The slower you go through, the more it's like heart-wrenching. Oh, I thought Keith Chazon would join and he said no, right? Oh, Prue Albers didn't join. Larry didn't join, right? But as you go through fast, you get to the gold nuggets quicker. So what are you waiting for? This is to the new people and to the old members. What are you waiting for, right? What you're waiting for is what's in your way is procrastination. Procrastination. So there's a great book that I had a lot of my leaders read recently, and we promoted it on social media, and it's called The 5-Second Rule, which is a great concept, which is designed to get you out of your own way. So just for a minute each, I'm going to ask again, Prue and Phoebe, I'll bring Phoebe on first this time, just to share, what have you learnt recently by reading that book? If you can unmute, please.
Okay. I needed that book so much because having been around the industry for a long time, and I think everybody on this call, and if they say yes to the business, they are egos, right? But we have allowed our lives through negativity and work colleagues and bosses and and society in general to clip our wings and put us in the chook pen. So there's chickens, turkeys, and eagles, and we can put ourselves in the chook pen, and we're really eagles that should be flying. So for me, this book really helped. The 5-second rule, and we're counting from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 doesn't work. I love the fact that she emphasizes the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go, because there's nowhere else to go. You have to go when you get to 1. There's nowhere else. I have found that helpful in breaking habits. And when you break a habit of procrastination damages your self-esteem. It damages your confidence. So for me, reading that book really illustrated to me that anybody can break a habit that you have allowed to form, right? Because we allow things to happen to us. And if we break that habit, and I believe the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go, If you think about that every time, it doesn't have to do with the business. It can be to do with anything in your life. You just use that 5-second rule to break a habit. It'll build your confidence. It'll eliminate your fear, and you will have success. And then that'll build your self-esteem, and you won't have an issue. I'm really enjoying the book. I haven't finished it yet, but it has been a blessing for me.
Beautiful. Leaders are readers. So, Prue, you have also been studying that book. And again, these guys are investing in themselves. I said that the triple sort, who's going to join doesn't mean they're going to build. Who's going to build doesn't mean they're going to learn how to lead. Who's going to lead doesn't mean they're going to be a smart a safe leader that only pushes one gig. But these guys are in that category. So with that in mind, Prue, what about you? What did you get out of the book?
Oh, much the same, really. We picked the book up at the airport on the way over to Thailand. And so, like Phoebe, we haven't finished the book, but it is such a great book because it just stops procrastination just then and there. And it's so simple. All you say to yourself is 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, let's go, or 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, we're not doing that, get over it and do this. And it just comes in and it stops all the excuses that you try to make in your mind, because you don't give yourself enough time to actually make the excuses, so you just have to take action. And that's what I really love about it. And because you can either have excuses or you can have actions, and it's much easier just to use the book, read the book, and it really just does help you to, like Phoebe mentioned, to soar with the eagles. So yeah, brilliant.
Love it. And by the way, guys, Phoebe and Prue know this because I said it. When we were in Thailand, I hate, give me a microphone and 20,000 people. I've spoken in front of that crowd. Love it. Woo, it's a rush. Ask me to dance in front of 5 people, 10 people, 100 people, forget it. So I was sitting in the front row having told everyone to read this book, and I'm like, I know that I'm not going to do. All the Indonesians knew. They're like, "Hey, Michael, we're going to get you on stage." I'm like, "No, you're not. No, you're not. No, you're not." And then I thought, I was sitting there. I saw Prue get up, and when they went left, she went right. I'm like, she's screwing it up. She can do it. What's wrong with me? And I went 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Got up there, did a bit of a robot dance, embarrassing. But I'm like, you know what? I'm teaching you in business. Put yourself out of your comfort zone. Do something new. And I did exactly that. And the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 concept got me to stand up and do some stupid dancing along with Greg. By the way, Greg did a really, really good crazy dance. So I share that with you because your comfort zone, we all need it. Even at my level, I still need to read books like that. So stay green and growing, not ripe and rotting. So that's been fantastic. Good to see everyone saying I needed that call. Great training tonight. Best training of 2025. Thank you, Larry. All good stuff to hear. So as we wrap up, remember, I started this saying, there's a path in the industry. You can become the opportunist, jumping at the shiny objects, or you can stay and become a professional for the long haul. Okay. So I wrote these notes down. You can keep jumping. You can chase opportunity after opportunity, hoping for better comp plans, faster hype, or you can commit, master your craft, lead with integrity, stay laser focused for your team to follow. And don't follow the naked man or woman trying to sell the shirt off their back. Follow the person who's mastered their profession and stay on the course, because professionals will outlast the opportunist every single time. Again, smoke and mirrors. Sometimes someone may have rung a bell at a really high rank through a Blue Friday sale, and so they've got a label, but they've never invested in these things, and maybe they've jumped to another company. Don't get confused with the hype. Don't buy a shirt off someone's back that doesn't have a shirt. Always stick with a leader who has integrity and will stick with you guys for the long term. So I hope you got a lot out of today. If you did, I would love you to do me a favor. We will be posting this into the Neumi member group in about 10 minutes from now. I'd love you to hop in there and tell us what's the one thing or something you got out of today's event. Because if I talk and you don't grow, that was a waste of time. If we talk from real life experiences, not hype, not theory, and say this is what's working, like both Prue and Phoebe did today, everybody wins, and a rising tide floats all boats. So remember, enroll from Neumi Week as quick as you can. You won't want to miss what's coming, and I look forward to seeing all of you on next week's call.